On TV, on radio, and on your smartphone. This is TalkTV.
Tonight on Piers Morgan Uncensored, another Markle debacle as Harry and Meghan jet to New York. Remember, the eco-warriors, so they came on a private jet, of course, and they're getting a human rights award for trashing their family. But is their Netflix superstar already backfiring? And other environmental activists of the vegan variety target steak restaurants to demand we all eat plant-based gruel. One of them will be here for a meaty debate. And this former Miss Croatia has been turning heads and camera lenses at the World Cup in Qatar. But is she disrespecting local culture? She'll join me live to set the record straight.
Live from London, this is Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Tonight, Harry and Meghan, the world's biggest whiners, are accepting a Human Rights Award. Yep, you heard that correctly. The Duke and Duchess of Netflix are in New York. They flew there, as all environmental warriors do, by private plane. And they're going to be honoured by the Robert F. Kennedy Foundation for their heroic fight against structural racism. In other words, they trash their families, call them a bunch of callous racists without producing any actual evidence. Well, the equality-obsessed environmentalists arrived, as I said, by private jet, and they're going to speak at a gala where tickets are selling for $1 million each. So that will be after they've preached about poverty. They'll be greeted on stage by Alec Baldwin, the host. He, you may remember, spent most of the last year on a self-pitying tour of victimhood, right up there, Alec, after shooting dead a female cinematographer on a film set and may be facing criminal charges. Well, Planet Sussex is an alternative universe where self-awareness is an alien concept and hypocrisy is virtuous. The trailers for their Netflix series have made it clear they're hell-bent on attacking the media and the royal family that they abandoned, and in Britain in the process. It's a dirty game, Harry grimly warned. It's all about race, said another. And as ever, there is Meghan Markle's truth, and there will be the truth. And despite their multi-million-dollar efforts to rewrite history, all the money and marketing in the world can't change some basic cold, hard facts. Remember, one of the ghastly fib-ridden trailers for their series featured me. She's becoming a royal rock star. And that part, at least, is true. She was. That's why I said it. I meant it at the time. And what it revealed is that far from being hounded by a racist press in a country full of rabid racist Meghan haters, she was in fact welcomed with wide open arms, not least by the British media, people like me. Most of the coverage in Britain, and indeed around the world, was extravagantly positive.
The future of the royal family will be shaped by what is now known as the Fab Four, the kind of royal Beatles, Harry, William, Meghan and Catherine.
I like Meghan and Harry very much, and I do think they brought a breath of fresh air.
What it represents is the fact that society is moving on and that these boundaries that were in place before are being lifted.
We've got Meghan Markle now, and we're not going to go anywhere near a republic now that we've got the Markle sparkle.
There's something very modern and forward-looking about their love.
Racist, bullying, invasive, nasty? Didn't seem like it, did it? Look at all those front pages. Harry and Meghan's engagement was greeted with a global gushing of goodwill, as unified and sincere as anything I've seen for a generation. History, said the front page of our biggest-selling tabloid on the day of their wedding. A historic change for the monarchy. One very excited commentator infused in these words: a biracial woman from America marrying into the world's most famous white family. It's hard to overstate the significance of this ceremony, beamed live around the world to black people everywhere. To borrow the words of Dr. King, this was a day when little black girls could watch TV and genuinely share little white girls' long-held dreams of one day marrying a prince. And who was the author of that optimistic and buoyant tribute to the new biracial British monarchy? It was me. I was as happy as everybody else. Harry and Meghan had it all, and they got the press that they deserved before they got married. They behaved themselves, they did the right thing, and we all liked them for it. And in return, they got a life of luxury, servants, adulation, global superstardom, along with a gigantic privileged platform for all the causes closest to their hearts. They got a £30 million wedding. King Charles, who's about to be torn to pieces in this documentary series, even walked Meghan down the aisle when her father was too ill to make the trip from America. They were the celebrated second half of the new Fab Four, fated as the glamorous and energetic future of our monarchy. And then they torched it all. And be under no illusion, they did that to themselves. The Netflix series is their grubbiest attempt yet to recast themselves as victims of a braying mob of British bigots who never wanted Meghan here in the first place. As the late Queen Elizabeth II herself once said, recollections may vary. Well, joining me now is former star of SAS Who Dares Wins, At Middleton, organiser of BLM protests, Iman Aitan. Well, welcome to both of you. And we also, down the line, we have royal correspondent of Vanity Fair, Katie Nicholl. I'll start with Katie Nicholl. Katie, thanks for joining me. I've got to say, the nearer we get to this global event, as Netflix call it, which is going to be unleashed on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. with the first 3 episodes, the more angry I'm becoming about what this is going to do to a grieving monarch who's not even been coronated yet to replace his mother, to the new Prince of Wales trying to build that position now for himself and his wife and his children. All of it makes me puke that these two, once again, are going to be raining muck all over their families, not just for the global titillation, but for hard dollars, $80 million, which is why they're doing it.
Absolutely, and I can only imagine for the King, for the Prince of Wales, I mean, they must just have their heads in their hands. Exasperated, frustrated, hurt, betrayed, angry, all words that I've been told are the feelings behind closed doors at the palace. Who knows whether they're going to be tuning in when the first 3 episodes of this docuseries drop on Thursday. I suspect the royal lawyers will be watching very closely. I'm sure the courtiers will be watching closely, particularly those who claim they were bullied by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. And I think the problem with all of this is so clearly highlighted in those very controversial trailers is it is so partisan, it is so one-sided, and I suspect we'll come away saying exactly what we said after the Oprah interview. Well, where were the counter questions? Where are the tabloid editors who can put another side of the argument across? They say they want to put across their truth, but is it the truth?
Well, we know after Oprah it's nowhere near the truth. At Middleton, you've always been very supportive of Harry. I think the military connection, obviously, and there's no doubt, this guy served his country with honour in war zones, and he deserves great credit for that. My brother-in-law taught him at Sandhurst Military Academy, said he was a fine young soldier. Nothing can take that away from him. But what I detect from people I know in the military is an unbelievable disappointment in what he's now becoming. And the fact that, of course, when you serve the military, you serve an oath to serve your country and your monarch.
Yes,
and here he is just now constantly attacking his father, who's the new king, and the monarchy, the institution.
I think when people are fed up with being suffocated by wokeness and by an attention-seeking manner like they have been, you can't defend them anymore. Harry, I defended him all along, said, look, he's protected his country, he served his country, he should go off like they wanted to, go off and live their life outside of the media, outside of the limelight.
With privacy, away from the media.
And I completely respected that. I thought to myself, do you know what? The man served his country, let him get away if that's what he wants to do. But to then do the complete opposite, not the complete opposite discreetly, the complete opposite in our faces, not only the people of his country, which we did look at him as our prince, but also the monarchy. I served the monarchy. I swore allegiance to the monarchy. I fought for Harry, for William, for the Queen, for the King. I fought for those people during a couple of decades. So when I see now that I've not only defended him, but he's come out, and the wokeness behind it, the virtual signalling behind this is sickening. And I think people have got to the point where they're fed up with hearing the same old jargon and then making money out of it.
Well, it's also hypocrisy and lies, right? In the 2 trailers, which last no more than 2.5 minutes between them, already 6 of the images that they have used in the trailers to illustrate the intrusion into their lives have been proven to be the complete opposite. Either they weren't at the events which are being depicted, like one's a Harry Potter premiere 5 years before they met, or their official photo calls where the pictures they've used were actually from people who'd been officially approved to stand there and take those pictures of the royals to promote them.
What's very obvious in here, Piers, what's very obvious here is there's a toxic partner in this relationship, and we know who it is. You know, Harry is not the person that he is now. When you look at the two differences of what we know him as and to what I'm not...
OK, so let me just...
Well, hang on.
Can I just cut in? Because I'm listening to you. You're bashing this woman in front of me, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
I'm going to come to you.
You are.
She, by the way, is unloading a load of manure all over her family in the next 48 hours. So we'll come to you. One moment. Just want to finish on one point about the lying is one thing. But the hypocrisy. These two go on about carbon footprint, about the environment. And where do they wash up to get this award? In another private plane. I mean, to me, again, they say one thing, they preach one thing, but they do the complete opposite. Right, the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Just give me one good reason why we shouldn't be feeling this way about these two.
OK, you know what? I'm going to start with the first point, because I've had to listen to a load of people vilify this woman all day, every day, and you know what? I'm fed up with it. So, first point, OK? So, the commercialisation of the rift within the royal family is a byproduct, OK? A byproduct of the institution's failure to be anti-racist and cooperative, which has ultimately led to a series of savvy business deals and strategic manoeuvres on their part in order to ensure the safety and security of their family, what you both fail to understand. Secondly, institutionalised racism, when pertaining to institutionalised racism, when an individual needs help, try to seek help and realise that there is no one to turn to, what you'll often find, and you should know this as a journalist, what you often find is that person will seek solace in the media and press outlets hold on a second, hold on, in an attempt to garner support, build awareness, understanding and inspire action. And all of these typical circumstances would be perfully OK, but for some reason it's not with this...
But we don't disagree with that. We don't disagree with that.
In any normal circumstances, this would be OK. But hold on a second. It's not for this particular couple. Now, hold on. Let's just bear that in mind.
Well, I want to ask you one thing about what you just said.
OK.
Where is the evidence that she went to people at the palace and they refused to give her help? Who were these people? Nearly 2 years later, we still don't have any names.
OK.
Nothing.
Right, so you're holding on to the fact that she won't give names, and I've already told you that.
I think she's a liar.
Hold on a second. Right,
I think she's a barefaced liar.
So you're categorically saying that she's a liar.
Yes.
But right, so let me just say this. Firstly,
she said her son hadn't been made a... She said, well, I'm going to say why I call her a liar. She said to Oprah Winfrey her son had not been made a prince because of his skin colour. Absolute lie.
OK, so this is what... OK,
the lie.
By virtue of the fact that you've come out with that opinion or thought, shows me that you have a very rudimentary understanding of racism. So let me break it down to both of you, OK?
That's just a fact.
Hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. No.
Go on. Tell me about racism.
The institution... OK, the reason why institutions are able to perpetuate racism is because they rely heavily on covert racism, which is hard to prove, therefore it thrives. Let me just break it down some more, because you clearly don't understand. Covert racism is racial prejudice that is subtle and discreet and often disguised and rationalised with an alternative explanation. So I'll give you an example. Hold on, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I will give you an example.
If I saw that openly, I would jump in and I would say, that is not right. 100%. I think any normal person
would do. What do you mean, what's not right? What's not right?
Racism, full stop. It should be stamped out. Absolutely.
But you don't even understand it by virtue of the fact that you're saying that. You clearly don't understand it.
I do understand racism.
You don't understand.
Absolutely I do.
You clearly don't understand.
Someone being judged by the colour of their skin and being...
I understand one thing.
So how is it perpetuated within an institution? You're telling me you understand racism. How is it perpetuated within an institution?
But you're getting into the nitty-gritty of things now.
Nitty-gritty? Hold on a second. You've just said you understand racism. Answer the question. How is it perpetuated within an institution?
Excuse me, time out. My show.
Your show.
Here's my point. My point about Meghan and Harry. They say all this stuff without producing any evidence
and you wouldn't let me finish.
It.
But you wouldn't let me finish. I've already just explained to you. Covert racism is racial prejudice that is subtle and discreet.
But you have to prove it.
Now, hold on a second. No, but this is the issue.
You can't say my son wasn't made a prince because of his skin colour.
Let me explain. This is what I'm trying to explain to you, and you won't let me finish. So let me finish, and you'll be able to raise your point. Okay. So, racial prejudice that is subtle and discreet. It's called covert racism.
You said this
Okay, hold on, listen. Just listen.
Don't just
because
repeat yourself
you're not understanding.
I think
You're
we
not
both understand what racism
No, Piers, you're not understanding. Because the reality is, I can give you an example, because clearly you're not getting it. So, someone can come along and say, oh, I don't like Meghan because she's this, she's that, she's a liar, she's this, she's that. When the reality is, secretly, it's actually due to the fact... Hold on a second, let me finish, please, Ange. It's actually due to the fact that Harry, who was a royal, ended up marrying a woman from the black community. But you cannot say that out loud, because that is
nothing to do with...
It is overtly racist and that is against the law. So what you do...
Calm down.
Listen, because you won't listen.
You can't just shout your way through the next hour, right? Here's my point about that. Nothing I've ever said that's critical of Meghan Markle has anything to do with her skin colour.
Okay,
nothing.
So at best...
Either subliminal or overt or any other way. It's to do with her hypocrisy and her lies.
What's hypocrisy? Because
now,
you ultimately said that she's a liar. That's gaslighting, which I've already told you about.
I also think she's a fake. Let me ask you one question. Front page of every paper today, or most of them, have pictures of her crying in the trailer for the series.
Yeah.
Do you think those tears were genuine?
OK, so this is what... I'm not even going to go down this
route.
Because you're trying to lead on the fact that just because someone is an actress, that therefore every time that they cry, it's ultimately fake. I'm answering you a question.
Do you think her tears are genuine?
You are implying... I do, because the reality is she's ultimately said that
then
that's
I want to play you something.
I
want to play you something.
So this is an actress who can act and who can cry on cue, but also can cry when...
I'm just going to play you a clip. I'm going to play you a clip.
I get your point.
I'm going to play you a clip. This is Meghan Markle.
Now make yourself cry. Yeah. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. You're like, Megan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
3 seconds is all it takes for her to cry.
And just a quick one on that, Piers.
She's an actress.
And I get your point.
She's scamming everybody.
And I really do. But when you talk about the discreet... When you talk about discreet...
Left out in the cold, this is how institutionalised racism works. When you dare to go up against an institution due to the fact that they're perpetuating racial prejudice, what usually happens is they get left out in the cold and they end up having to find solace in the media, in finding money to survive. I've already explained this.
Do you not think people manipulate that because it can't be proven?
And you don't think that people are racially prejudiced and are trying to pretend that it's something other than racial prejudice?
But do you not think people use that card as well in a vindictive and a manipulative way?
And do you not think that people are racially prejudiced and are trying to...
But do you not see my point of view?
Time out.
I do.
Can you stop?
I do. I see that.
Don't just talk over each other.
Iman,
look at the front pages there, which is when their engagement was announced.
Yeah.
Where's the racism?
Do you remember that was before she actually said that the institution was racist? And that's my point. How institutionalised racism works is the minute you dare say that the institution is racist, everyone piles on.
Shouting.
That's what happens.
But you accept there's no racism in those media pages.
Because that was before she said that the institution was racist.
Actually,
after that moment, that's when everyone decided to pile on.
Actually, what happened is
as a woman,
people began to pile on when she started having $500,000 baby showers in New York and flying back on the Clooney private plane. They started having a pile-on. When they used Elton John's private plane like a taxi rank whilst preaching about carbon footprint. They had another pile-on when they had other huge extravagant events they went to, and then when they're preaching about poverty on their Twitter account. Time and again, they were caught being rankly hypocritical. That was why the media coverage began to turn. Then there was all the stuff with her father. Many people felt that she was unnecessarily cruel to her father. People have since criticised his own behaviour. I accept that. But certainly, to start with, they ditched him. They dropped him. Harry's never met his father-in-law in his life. You know, he proposed marriage to this girl knowing what's going to happen and then doesn't do anything to protect the father at all. And so now she's disowned him. What kind of people put compassion on their website, as they do, as being at the centre of their core being, when they live 70 miles away from this guy who has not got long for this world, he's in poor health, all he wants to do is meet his grandchildren, and she won't have anything to do with it? That's not compassionate. And also the hypocrisy and the lies are not what I think are decent values in people. Sorry.
All of those things seem to outweigh the fact that a black woman has said that
nothing to do with her being black.
Everything is about racism. She has ultimately turned around and said that institution is racist, and everyone has decided to pile on. So let me just tell you, in terms of my thoughts, at best, these individuals are weak, insecure, hate to see a rift, and have a positive prejudice towards the royal family. And at worst, they are a bunch of disgusting racists who fail to acknowledge their racial prejudice and actually find solace in seeking self-esteem and status from gaslighting black people. It is either one or the other or both.
Here's the problem. I would have said exactly the same thing if she'd been white. Exactly the same thing.
So what's the point that you're trying to make?
And actually, Kate Middleton, who came in, she got criticised very heavily by the media early on in that
But
relationship.
she didn't have to contend with
and
racism,
she just
did she?
did her duty, accepted in return for all the luxury.
She didn't contend with racism, though,
yeah, but
did she?
these two
She
said
didn't contend with racism, though, did she?
Where did the racism come from?
Okay, so you're clearly not understanding, so I'll
No,
break
no,
it
you're
down
not
again.
understanding
no, you're not
me.
understanding about the institution.
Where did the racism come from?
I'll answer.
Tell me who was racist and when.
Okay, I'm going to answer for you. Okay?
Who and when?
Right, let's just start with the
You can't just say everyone's
okay, so
racist.
let me answer.
Yeah.
Who and when?
Okay, so let me answer. Okay? Firstly, racism, as I've said over the last several years, and I'll say it again, racism is firmly interwoven into the fabric of British society due to its historical context.
Right.
And that's
that wasn't my question.
And that way, I'm answering your question.
Not my question.
Let me finish, Piers.
Who was racist to Meghan and Harry in the British media? Or who was racist at the palace? And when were they racist?
Can I answer your question now?
Sure, give me one example.
Perfect. So, racism is firmly interwoven into the fabric of British society.
Just give me an example.
Secondly, I'm going to make my point. I'm going to make my point. Hold on a second. Secondly, the royal family smeared their own name, tarnished their own name by failing to adopt anti-racism stances.
Right. Is there one example
why,
or not?
hold on a second, and they've perpetuated racism.
I only want one example.
I'm giving you the example. They've
of the British media being racist or someone at the palace and who wasn't?
I'm giving you an example. Let me finish, please. Is that okay, Piers? Thank you very much. So,
you can answer the question.
I'm going to answer the question. So, in terms of the institution, I'm going to give you several examples of covert racism, clearly, as you don't understand. First,
can you give me one example?
I'm going to.
I do, but I see the flip side as well. I see where it's manipulated.
We're going to have to go to a break.
The Queen gives out badges that ultimately depicts a white man with wings.
Everything.
The Queen
either give me an example or say you can't.
I'm giving you examples, but you won't let me speak.
Give me one specific example.
I'm giving you examples. All right, so in terms of media, because this is what happens with you, you're clearly not trying to hear me.
Just ask for a fact.
In terms of the media, we've already seen the clear distinction between how the media has displayed or spoken or represented, obviously in terms of how they've represented Meghan and how they've represented. Yes, I do. In terms of holding a baby. Kate held her stomach and therefore it was fine. Meghan held her stomach and she's a terrible person. This is an example of covert racism. No, it's called covert racism that you don't understand.
Oh, it's nonsense, Iman. There is no racism in the British media to Meghan Markle. There never has been. None of it has been racist.
Fine. You can continue to perpetuate your covert racism on national television.
You know what? Okay, I've got to leave it there. I have to leave it there. We've had a good run of this. I don't have any racism covert or overt.
No, you have racial prejudice and it manifests itself.
I have no racial prejudice whatsoever. I have none whatsoever.
That's what you don't understand about
I wouldn't be giving you 21 minutes of my show on a regular basis if I had a racial prejudice.
But this is what happens. So white people tend to justify either sleeping with a black person, having a black friend, or hiring a black person as to make sure they're exempt
and I'm not going to hire you, but I will keep having you back as a commentator if you can provide some facts behind the extreme rhetoric.
Yes, which I did.
You can't just say everyone's racist in Britain, but I can't give you a single example.
I explained to you that she already experienced racism within that institution. I already told you that. And you've gaslit that woman just like the rest of the media.
I know, I'm a gaslighting covert racist. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Yes, you are indeed.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Well, after the break, waitresses doing what so many authorities have failed to do, getting stuck into the eco-warriors. I'll talk to Animal Rebellion man. There he is. We got him there. He took part in this protest at a steak restaurant in London. Their spokesman, Nathan McGovern, a celebrity chef, Uzo Zilli, will be sticking their teeth into this meaty debate next.
Mate, we're on here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, just get rid of some stress, it's fine.
Damn, Allardyce is here, everyone!
You've got someone out in Qatar for me?
Okay, you're definitely out there, right? Yeah, I'm out here.
So I need some A-listers on the show, right?
Howard's getting 5,000 quid.
Maurice Stapleton Stadium.
Well, getting all the laughs. Would you go back into football?
If it was the Wolves show, I'd go back into football, but I can't speak Portuguese.
I thought I wouldn't be able to get a beer out here. I can. Great, there we put that there.
passionate and always straight to the point. World-class broadcaster Vanessa Feltz is on TalkTV every night of the week. From politics to pop culture, there's no subject she shies away from. And remember,
if you're thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Join Vanessa Feltz on TalkTV every day from 4 p.m.
Still to come tonight, the former Miss Croatia and why she should be able to wear whatever she wants, or as little as she wants, it appears, in Qatar. We'll debate that shortly. There she is, live, and, a little overdressed, perhaps. Can't hear us, but that may not be a problem. But first, vegan activists are not giving up their quest to make us all eat bland, plant-based gruel. They've tipped milk all over the floor of Fortnum & Mason and Selfridges in London. They've hurled white paint at the gates of the Houses of Parliament. Now they've targeted a high-end steakhouse in London, and the waitresses did what many have wanted to do with these protesters for a while. Take a look.
Thank you for the market. Good night. Good night. Thank you very much, ladies.
Well, joining me now is Animal Rebellion spokesman Nathan McGovern and celebrity chef Aldo Zilli. Got it right this time. He picked me up on it. It's Aldo, not Aldo. Aldo's a very British pronunciation of an Italian name. Good to see you both. Nathan, start with you. I don't like vegans very much. I don't think any of you look very healthy.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I think you all look pretty pasty-faced and unhealthy to me. But that's your choice. What I don't do is I don't go running into vegan restaurants and start screaming abuse at you all and have to be pulled out by people because you're ruining everyone's fun. Why do you do that to meat eaters?
Well, Piers, you've started on an absolute blinder today. I actually brought a little game with me for Aldo, perhaps the audience to play. It's a Piers Morgan vegan bingo. Maybe we get a zoom on that from the camera. And you've actually just ticked off one straight away. I'll just go with that. We're looking at row or a column already. So the thing is, within years, technology like precision fermentation, alt protein, is going to produce the exact same products that you love right now, using a fraction of the land, producing a fraction of the carbon
footprint. But I like
footprint.
eating meat.
It's the exact same product.
No, but I like eating meat.
Fine. You'll be eating the exact same product.
In fact, the more you guys do this kind of
animals.
thing, the more meat I want to eat.
That's absolutely fine.
But it's true.
That's fine. That's
you
fine.
Literally, it's a bit. Honestly, it's true. The more stuff you do like this,
sorry, I didn't catch that. It's true, is it? You've said that about 3 times. I didn't quite catch it. That you like eating meat.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. I didn't get it the first 3 times.
How committed a vegan are you?
How committed a vegan am I?
Would you eat? Do you drink almond milk?
Oh, you've ticked off another one. Fantastic, Piers. You are on an absolute roll.
Does it have answering questions?
I don't know. I'll keep that one hidden from you. Take the fun out of the game.
Can you just answer questions? Otherwise, it's not much of an interview. I mean, you can have your little chart, but do you drink almond milk?
No.
Do you eat almonds?
No.
Do you eat avocado?
No.
What do you eat? What do you drink?
I love seasonal British fruit and veg.
Right.
I love supporting British farmers. I love going to a farmer's market, seeing what they have to offer. I love eating a plant-based diet.
But most science now says that if you don't have a balanced diet, it's actually unhealthy for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why a plant-based diet, a balanced plant-based diet is healthy.
Aldo, what do you feel? I mean, your restaurant is very close to where this happened, right? What do you feel about these activists running in, ruining people's meals?
Listen, 25 years ago, I opened one of the first vegetarian restaurants in London, in Soho. And if it was now, it's probably more successful. Then it didn't get very successful. But anyway, cut long story short, I don't have any problems. I've written a vegetarian book, not a vegan book. I don't have any problems with veganism and vegetarian people because I have restaurants. I'm a consultant for a number of restaurants, number of restaurant companies. And we have vegan and vegetarians on menus. So I don't understand when it gets out of hand that these people have to disrupt our business.
Well, because they have no respect for meat eaters. But if we were doing the same thing to them, they'd all go nuts, right, wouldn't you? You'd all go nuts. If I came running into your little vegan hellholes and began screaming abuse, you'd all throw your toys out the pram, as you do on a daily basis.
I'm not throwing my toys out the pram right now, Piers. I'm loving this, to be honest.
What are you loving?
I'm loving this open conversation that we're having about this actual quite.
But why do you have
issue.
to go into a restaurant and disrupt our business, disrupt the customers, other people that want to eat the meat, other people that want to enjoy themselves, they want to go and have a night out? I don't have any problems with you guys coming to our restaurants and ordering a vegan dish. In fact, in January, we always do a veganuary, and we go through a lot of different ingredients to create menus for you guys. I don't understand why we have to suffer your mentality of coming to our restaurants and trying to disrupt the customers that are having a fantastic time and they want to eat a steak.
What's the answer?
No, it's actually a good question, Aldo. And actually, it's fantastic that you create fantastic vegan dishes. The fact of the matter is, when we look at high-end restaurants, you know, Salt Bay's restaurant, Manor up in Manchester that was also disrupted the weekend, these are symbols of a broken system, you know.
Why? Because he makes nice
symbols of a broken system where, you know, there's 1,500 quid getting charged for a steak.
Why is he making millions around the world?
I was in one of his restaurants last week in Qatar. Loved it. Fantastic. But he served me. I've got a clip, I think, of him.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to show it. I was wondering how long it would take.
That was me doing his little salt trick. He taught me.
You weren't very good at it.
He then actually cooked it in front of me, and he fed me, actually, directly fed me the meat into my mouth. It was delicious. Loved it.
Fine.
Loved it.
I would invite any vegans.
But if you'd run in and tried to interrupt and just ruin everyone's night, I would have done what those waitresses did, just thrown you out.
That's absolutely fine.
So what's the point of it all? What does it achieve? None of you make me want to change my mind. I just think, what annoying little squits. Honestly, I do. It's the same when you're chucking paint at Van Gogh paintings. It's the same when you're tying yourself to fuel pumps or hanging yourself on bridges and stopping people using Dartford Tunnel. It's all the same. You're just all too annoying. So the British public don't like annoying people, and they don't like their lives being disrupted. They want their freedom to have a choice. The choices I had in Qatar last week to have Salt Bay's restaurant you invaded to do this to my mouth.
Can you imagine someone coming in
this is it.
and disrupting your evening?
Have we got the clip? We haven't got the clip.
Oh, wash.
Oh, you just ran it? OK.
No, but can you imagine you coming to our restaurants and then you get some people coming to your table and trying to disrupt your evening? It's abuse.
I am going to start running into vegan restaurants.
That's fine. Go for
just
it.
Shouting and being annoying
right to protest,
grabbing tables and so you can't eat your gruel and just see how you lot like it. I'm going to go to your house and chop paint all over it.
Piers, you've got a right to protest. Oof! You've got me another one.
Take it off your bingo.
Fantastic.
Take it off your bingo, son.
But where's the salt? Where's it?
Won't need any of this gruel. Let's
Fantastic.
put that to one side, but I will have a bit of steak just to...
You didn't salt it, though.
You see, all you've achieved is you've made me want to do this. Just eat a lovely...
That's absolutely fine. You go for it.
Do you know how many steaks he's had from my restaurant?
A lot. But here's my point. I love eating steak. I'm not going to stop eating steak.
Yeah.
And the very last thing on earth that will stop me eating steak is people like you with your pasty faces running into our restaurants telling us to stop eating steak. That's the very last thing I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
Because you don't represent to me vitality or good health. You just all look like you want a good bit of steak.
That's absolutely fine. You're fully entitled to that opinion. And as I've just said earlier, you're right to protest if you want to run into a vegan restaurant.
Your mates are also the Extinction Rebellion, right?
My mates.
You're all like interwoven, aren't you? You said before we came on air.
What, like a woolen blanket?
Well, are you connected or not?
No. So we're a sister movement.
A sister movement? What's that?
Rebellion.
Sounds a bit sexist.
No, we have, common goals.
What are your common goals? Irritating people.
Such as tackling the climate and ecological emergencies, which, I'm sure all of us.
What did you think of Meghan and Harry using a private plane?
Oof, there we go. Meghan Markle. That's another one. That's 4 for 9. I'm not going to give you that, mate.
What did you think of them using a private plane to go to this award show? You must be furious, right?
It's incredible how you manage
to
turn this into let's dump on Meghan and
Nathan,
Harry. Your agenda, Piers. Oh,
you just talked about the environment. I just wonder whether...
Would you go in their plane?
I just wonder whether you... Do you feel...
I wouldn't go on a
do you
plane,
feel
no,
angry they used a private plane or not?
No, I think what we should have is affordable travel for everyone.
But they used a private plane.
What we should have is travel systems.
Do you criticise them for using a private plane or not?
You know,
or because they're the woke king and queen, you're not allowed to.
They're using a plane.
Is it because you can't?
I would have much preferred.
You know why you can't, don't you, Nathan? Because this is against hypocrisy.
To
you
your
can't
face,
because you,
I am
Nathan
telling
McGovern, you don't want to read a headline tomorrow saying Nathan McGovern from Animal Rebellion slams Meghan and Harry for using private plane. You don't want to say it because, like them, you're a flaming hypocrite. You'd rather go in.
There we go. You've got me a column.
Brilliant. You'd rather
go
into restaurants like Aldo's or Salt Bays or whatever and just make a nuisance of yourselves because it's easier. But what you should be doing, if you're intellectually honest, is saying, Meghan and Harry, stop using private planes. But you won't because they're your
I will say it right now if you let me. I will say it right now
Aldo,
if you will let me.
Final word to you about a balanced diet. Most science I've read lately says that actually having no meat in your diet at all is not necessarily a beneficial thing at all.
For that matter.
Right, or fish.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have a balanced diet, and it's important for our well-being, for getting healthy. If you work out in the gym, like I do, I need to have maybe some good protein.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I did go vegan for 6 months. A couple of years ago.
Nearly killed me. I went vegan for an hour. I had a lettuce.
It didn't kill me. It didn't kill me.
What about that vegan Greg's sausage roll?
It was disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting.
Complete racket.
Course,
exactly.
More calories in a Greg's vegan sausage roll than there are in a McDonald's cheeseburger.
What I don't understand.
What's irrelevant?
At least it tastes better.
It's naming the dishes, and like they're meat.
I just think,
but they're
Nathan,
not meat.
Nathan, here's the point. If you want to win an argument, you just can't be annoying all the time. You can't just ruin everyone's fun and their lives, walking around like you have the only way forward for life and the universe, the Nathan McGovern rule book.
It's not me.
Thou shalt do this, this and this.
Oxford
Unless
University.
you're Meghan and Harry, then you can
Harvard
do what you like.
University. It's the IPCC, Piers. This isn't me. I'm not a scientist.
Right.
I'm perfectly happy to admit
I think we'll leave it
People
on the fact
from the
that
University of Oxford,
you're not an expert.
University of Harvard,
You're not an
IPCC.
expert.
Neither are you, and you should listen to
You're
them.
not an expert. I think we'll leave it at that. Nathan?
Don't
Thank
come
you.
to.
Good to see you. Sorry we didn't get them all ticked off.
You got me. You got me a comment. You got me a comment. It's fine.
Don't come and annoy my customer.
Shouty and insects. Oh yeah, insects. Yeah. Good to see you both. Thank you, Aldo. Great to see you.
Great to see
you, Nathan. Happy irritant. Next tonight, she's been ogled a photograph of the World Cup in Qatar, but some have accused her of disrespecting local culture. The former Miss Croatia, Ivana Knoll, thinks she should be able to wear whatever she likes. She'll join me next, alongside a disapproving Qatari businessman.
Mate, we're on here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, just get me some stress, it's fine.
Damn, Allardyce is here, everyone!
You've got someone out in Qatar for me?
Hey, you're definitely out there, right? Yeah, I'm out here.
So I need some A-listers on the show.
Howard's getting 5,000 quid.
Marie Staples Stadium.
Getting all the laugh. Would you go back into football?
If it was the Wolves job, I'd go back into football, but I can't speak Portuguese.
I thought I wouldn't be able to get a beer out here. I can.
Great, okay, we put that up there. Oh!
passionate and always straight to the point. World-class broadcaster Vanessa Feltz is on TalkTV every night of the week. From politics to pop culture, there's no subject she shies away from. And remember,
if you're thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Join Vanessa Feltz on TalkTV every day from 4 p.m. This is TalkTV.
Well, you may have seen my next guest standing out from the crowds at Croatia's World Cup matches, just about dressed in her country's famous red and white checkerboard colours. Her outfits have certainly attracted the attention of many, including local Qataris. But should former Miss Croatia Ivana Knoll, dubbed the World Cup's sexiest fan by the media, respect the culture of Qatar while she's in the country? Well, I'm joined now by former Miss Croatia Ivana Knoll and by Mohammed Hassan Al-Jafari, who believes that women should dress modestly in Qatar and tweeted her to that effect. Well, welcome to both of you. Let me start with you, if I may, Ivana. You've obviously got a lot of attention there, as you did indeed at the Russia World Cup and the Brazil World Cup. It's something you enjoy doing, and obviously no problem doing it in somewhere like Brazil. But have you encountered any resistance or opposition to you doing it in Qatar? Can you hear me, Ivana?
Yes, hi, Piers, I hear you.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried we'd lost you. So let me ask you that again. I'll ask you again. Have you had any people criticising you to your face in Qatar for your clothing?
No, to be honest, I'm very surprised and very happy that they accept my clothing. And many Arab Qatar people came to do photos with me, even female, males, kids, and everyone. And it's really nice to see us doing photos.
I mean, it's one thing doing it in Brazil, as you did in the 2014 World Cup, but obviously there is a more conservative dress code in Qatar. I was there last week, and, you know, some local Qataris certainly, including our other guest tonight, would have thought that it might have been better for you to respect the culture by wearing more clothes. What do you say to that?
I didn't have any bad reactions, to be honest, and I was very happy about that because they accept us, because many people are here from the other countries, and I was so happy because nothing happened and I didn't have any bad reactions, not even one.
Very interesting. Well, let's go to Mohammed Hassan Al-Jafari. You're a Qatari local, and you tweeted, just for your info, they take a photo not because they like her, talking about Ivana, but because they don't like the way she is misdressed in regards to our culture. You can confirm this with any local Qatari, probably to report it. So, Mohammed, thank you for joining me. So you weren't impressed by what Ivana was wearing. Yes, you're welcome. I mean, do you find it offensive, or what is your position?
Actually, I would go neutral, because I have seen a lot of similar way clothing in Qatar. But many people are reporting this in WhatsApp and sending messages and sending these kind of different videos and photos for some non-clear people. Like, so for example, similar to the way she were dressed, we see it like it's really so strange to be here in Qatar wearing like that. So we've seen the dress code of FIFA stadiums and tournaments, and maybe some people reported these kind of things, and maybe she didn't know about that. So I thought it's a very good chance to also invite her to know more about the other perspective from the side of people who maybe don't agree with her. But yeah, you wouldn't find people who will come to you and say that in front of you or in front of your face or something like that. That's common because we've been used to have a lot of guests, and Qatar now, for the past like maybe 15 years, it's a multinational country, so you can see all different kinds of nationality, and I'm sure that you experience that.
Okay, well, let me ask Ivana.
So,
I mean,
maybe it's a good chance as well to invite her to try our abaya. It's really nice, and I think it's going to be really good on her.
Well, I think the point I think you've made, Ivana, I think I read you saying elsewhere, is that there are no restrictions in Croatia on what people can wear, including if people want to wear Muslim garments. That's obviously completely fine and tolerated. So your position, I think, and I don't want to speak for you, is that why shouldn't you be allowed to wear what you want to wear when you're in Qatar?
I respect every country where I'm coming, and I asked about the rules here, and locals confirm me that I can dress as usually, because for the World Cup they are making an exceptions, and they will allow us to wear on the way how we are wearing it usually. And that's why I decide to wear my outfits, because locals confirm me that it's allowed. And I didn't have any bad reaction. As I told you, Qatari people, Arabic people coming to me to do photos with me, even very nice female and women on the stadium. On the last game, they came, the photo went also viral with a nice hijab, and they came to me to do photos with me in my outfit, Croatian outfit, what I had in the last game. And I think that's amazing, to accepting each other to be different.
I think that's actually a perfectly fine response. And Mohammed, I think I appreciate the fact that you've not been too confrontational. I think there's a mutual respect here, and maybe some work to be done, perhaps, in how you both view each other and the cultural differences. But I'm glad we brought you both together, and it's been an interesting debate. Thank you both very much indeed for joining me.
Thanks.
Well, after the break, with ambulance workers, nurses and train workers all set to strike in the run-up to Christmas, are unions losing public support? Debating that with my pack next. Don't go away.
Mate, we're on here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, just get me some stress, it's fine.
Sam Allardyce is here, everyone.
You've got someone out in Qatar for me?
Hey, you're definitely out there, right?
Yeah, I'm out here.
So I need some A-listers on the show.
Howard's getting 5,000 quid.
Maurice Stapleton Stadium. Well, let's get all the laugh. Would you go back into football?
If it was the Wolves job, I'd go back into football, but I can't speak Portuguese.
I thought I was going to be able to get a beer out here. I can.
Great, okay, we put that up there. Oh!
Passionate and always straight to the point. World-class broadcaster Vanessa Feltz is on TalkTV every night of the week. From politics to pop culture, there's no subject she shies away from. And remember,
if you're thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Join Vanessa Feltz on TalkTV every day from 4 p.m.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Let's talk to tonight's pack. TalkTV contributor Richard Tice, lawyer and commentator Paula Rowan Adrian. Welcome to you both. Good evening. It's been a lively old show. Let's have a bit of calm and talk about the union, shall we? Richard Tice, I always have a sort of instinctive feeling in tough times like this that most public sector workers probably do get a pretty unfair rub of the green, actually. But when you've got inflation raging at the levels that it's raging, you just can't give everybody what they want without the country literally keeling over. What do we do about this sort of impasse where the unions are getting more militant, more aggressive, wrecking Christmas by the look of it? And we're seeing nurses go out, ambulance workers, plus no trains and so on. What's the solution here?
Well, everybody knows that if you lift their salaries by the rate of inflation or more, inflation goes up and up. It's a never-ending circle. We end up back in the 70s. That is not the way to go. What you should actually be doing is cutting their taxes. That is less inflationary, and it's the way to solve this. The Tories don't understand that at all. They're trying to be dogmatic. I don't know where this goes, but it may end up, Piers, in a situation where basically the Tories lose the ability to govern in the first quarter of next year. We could end up with an earlier general election, and maybe that's actually the agenda of some of the hardline unions.
And Paula, I mean, is it, regardless of anyone's individual politics, does the country need, perhaps, a fresh pair of eyes? I mean, it feels to me this Conservative Party, it's not Rishi Sunak's fault, he's inherited this basket case, really. But it seems to me we're in that sort of last moments of John Major's tenure, when everyone was just fed up. And it's like, let's just try something else.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Labour have all the answers. It would be a very difficult challenge for Keir Starmer and his team. But you sort of feel like we're heading that way, and that in a way this might be, as Richard said, the tipping point.
I mean, completely. And I have to say that we're actually going to agree tonight, because this isn't just about a pay increase. OK, it's about a quality of life that no longer exists anymore. And it's about being able to achieve that quality of life. And we don't have to achieve that quality of life just through our wage. We can get parking back for nurses. Yeah. We can get the staff recruited. We can get retention dealt with. It's those types of things.
I mean, it seems to me unbelievable, Richard, that we live in a country where nurses have to pay for the right to park outside
it's
the
absurd.
Hospitals where they save people's lives. And then they all get parking tickets.
It's absurd. I put forward a fully costed plan yesterday to retain and attract not only healthcare staff, but actually social care staff. I would actually give them zero basic rate income tax for 3 years. And you fund it by not paying the Bank of England, paying huge amounts of money on its QE debt, which is just absurd, which is enriching city banks at the expense of the taxpayer.
Is one of the problems, we had of course, Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, who didn't know what her own Rwanda policy was. And today we've had Michelle Donnellan, who is the Culture Secretary, who was asked a simple question today in a committee.
Can you name Scotland's Culture Secretary?
Not off the top of my head.
It's Angus Robertson. Yeah. He is your opposite number in Edinburgh.
I mean, she didn't even know her own opposite number. This is a senior cabinet member.
She was refreshingly honest.
About being stupid.
She had no choice, Richard.
She had no choice.
Pushed into an embarrassing corner.
But then in reality, let's remember, the SNP are literally trying to destroy the culture of the United Kingdom by separating
Even
away.
more reason why you should know the Culture Secretary is in Scotland.
Yeah.
Before I let you go tonight, your other half has written this book, the Matt Hancock Diaries, in which he seems to blame everybody but himself for everything. What's your take on it, honestly?
Piers,
my take is a riveting read, So Isabel,
Well,
big
it's-
tick.
it's
but in terms of him, it's 2 years ago to the day since he came on Good Morning Britain and cried here without apparently any evidence of tears. Take a look. Simple words there, reacting it. You're quite emotional by that.
Well, it's just, it's been such a tough year for so many people.
I mean, he wins the Meghan Markle award there for dry eye
I mean,
tears.
he clearly doesn't, does he? Because I don't see any tears there at all.
No,
so.
his arrogance, his refusal to admit they made any mistakes, particularly in the early days, is utterly infuriating.
Yeah.
And look, there are some things that wasn't his fault, but there's some serious things coming out of this now about the mask wearing, the lack of investigation about whether or not to close schools. So there's a lot more to come out of
I want to end on a happy note tonight because we had a lot of shouting. Neil Diamond, 5 years ago, got diagnosed with Parkinson's. And last night on Broadway, they launched a musical version of Neil Diamond. And he turned up, and at the end, he did this. Fabulous. I mean, a man with Parkinson's, 5 years after diagnosis, brought the house down. Lovely.
Yes, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And in my house, I'm sure in many houses across the United Kingdom, whenever that song is played, you know you have to.
Well, we know when it might be played, on Saturday night against France.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
If we can somehow repel Mbappe. And as I speak, Portugal, I think, have just hammered 5 or 6 in their game, so they look dangerous too. Thanks to my pack. Keep it up, Uncensored, whatever you're up to. Good night.
Mate, we're on here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, just get rid of some stress, it's fine.
Sam Allardyce is here, everyone.
You've got someone out in Qatar for me?
Okay, you're definitely out there, right?
Yeah, I'm out here.
So I need some A-listers on the show.
Howard's getting 5,000 quid.
Maurice Stadium.
Getting all the laughs. Would you go back into football?
If it was the Wolves job, I'd go back into football, but I can't speak Portuguese.
I thought I wouldn't be able to get a beer out here. I can.
Great, we put that up there.